Good morning, students. Hope all of you are safe and fine at home. Shall we study the poem A Father to His Son today? A Father to His Son was written by Carl August Sandburg. Carl August Sandburg was an American poet, writer, and editor. He won 3 Pulitzer Prizes. Pulitzer Award is given for an achievement in American journalism, literature, or music. He has won 3 Pulitzer Prizes, 2 for his poetry and 1 for his biography of Abraham Lincoln. He has written a biography about Abraham Lincoln. In this poem, a father is thinking about the advice he wishes to impart to his son. Now, students, let us study the poem. First stanza. A father sees his son nearing manhood. What shall he tell that son? Life is hard, be still, be a rock, and this might stand him for the storms and serve him for humdrum monotony. In this poem, a father who is very vigilant and who is always careful about his son and his future settlements, he warns his son he should achieve whatever he could not achieve in his lifetime. He tells his son about his failures and successes and all the mantras behind all this. An enlightened father tells his son how he should be in his lifetime. In this poem, the father sees his son. He is at the entrance of his manhood. His boyhood is to be over and he is to become a man. He encourages his son. The father encourages his son to explore and take risks in life because he believes that life is fun. He encourages his son to be hard like a rock and a steel. If he is hard, that would make him to withstand the challenges in his life, and it would make him serve him to prevent boring routine in his life. Humdrum monotony means boring routine, the same routine, to prevent the boring routine in his life. Now let us study the second stanza. And guide him among sudden betrayals and tighten him for slack moments. Life is a soft loam, be gentle, go easy, and this too might serve him. Brutes have been gentled where lashes failed. It means if he is hard, if the son is hard, it can also guide him among sudden betrayals, the falsehood, and it can also make him active when his life is very slow in progress. Life is a fertile soil. Soft loam means fertile soil. So the father tells his son that life is a fertile soil and he can make his life fruitful if he show gentleness, if he is gentle and take life as it comes. Gentleness overtakes harshness. Even harsh people, that is the people who are very violent people, can be calmed by gentleness, whereas a whip will fail to do so. Brutes have been gentled where lashes means whips. So brutal people, brutes are gentled where lashes failed. Now, coming to the third stanza, the growth of a frail flower in a path up has sometimes shattered and split a rock. A tough will counts, so does desire, so does a rich, soft wanting. Without soft wanting, nothing arrives. It means the growth of a soft flower, frail flower means very soft and weak flower also. It can split a rock because the flower is so soft but the rock is very hard. Even the flower grows, the soft flower grows, it can even split a hard rock also. Like that, one should have a strong willpower, that is very important in life. One should have a deep desire and strong will to achieve success. So the father wishes his son to be very strong and must have willpower. So he should become wealthy also. Without wealth, nothing is there. Without a rich, soft wanting means he must have some ambition. He must be wealthy in his life. To get things done, we need money, isn't it? So the father asks his son to be wealthy. Without wealth, there is nothing in life. Now, fourth stanza. Tell him too much money has killed men and left them dead years before burial. The quest of lucre beyond a few easy needs has twisted good enough men sometimes into dry thwarted worms. From these lines, the father says he must have money, but too much money is not good for life, because if we are very greedy in earning money, in getting money, it will make people dead. Even they are alive, it makes them dead before they really die. The greed for money has left many people dead before they really die. So he asks his son not to be that much of greedy. Good men also have fallen prey in search for easy money. Now, coming to the fifth stanza. Tell him time as a stuff can be wasted. Tell him to be a fool ever so often and to have no shame over having been a fool, yet learning something out of every folly, hoping to repeat none of the cheap follies. The meaning of this stanza: time for leisure is not a waste. When you seek knowledge, never feel ashamed to be called a fool or for not knowing things. At the same time, learn from your mistakes. Folly means mistake. And never repeat the cheap mistakes you have done so far. But never feel ashamed for doing such foolish things. Now, coming to sixth stanza. Thus arriving at intimate understanding of a world numbering many fools. Tell him to be alone often and get at himself, and above all, tell himself no lies about himself, whatever the white lies and protective fronts he may use against other people. It means by never repeating his mistakes, he comes to have a close understanding of the world around him with a number of fools. So he asks his son to do self-analyzing often. Be alone sometimes to prove on himself. Do not hesitate to accept your shortcomings. And avoid telling lies to protect self against other people. White lies means lies told to avoid hurting someone's feelings. So he asks his son to avoid telling lies to protect self against other people. He should always be honest and move forward in his life. Now, seventh stanza. Tell him solitude is creative if he is strong and the final decisions are made in silent rooms. Tell him to be different from other people if it comes natural and easy being different. Thus, the father tells if he is strong, if his son is strong, if he is lonely, solitude means loneliness. If he is strong, his loneliness helps him to be creative. The final decisions are always taken in silent rooms. He should be different from other people if that is his nature. He should not be one among the people. He should be unique and different if that is what makes him happy. Now, coming to 8th stanza. Let him have lazy days, seeking his deeper motives. Let him seek deep, for where he is born natural. Then he may understand Shakespeare and the Wright brothers, Pastor, Pavlov, Michael Faraday, and free imaginations. The father tells that his son may need lazy days to find his inborn abilities and to seek and to find out for what he is born. Then only he will understand how the works of all these famous personalities have brought many changes in the world. Shakespeare. Students, do you know what these people are famous for? Shakespeare was a British writer who wrote many plays about life, love, death, revenge, grief, jealousy, mystery, etc. The same way, Wright brothers. Wright brothers, the American inventors who invented aeroplane, and Pasteur, who is a French chemist, proved that the germs cause disease, and he developed vaccines for anthrax and rabies, and he created the process of pasteurization also. Pavlov is a Russian psychologist who invented that the animals salivated naturally upon the presentation of food. Michael Faraday was a British scientist who discovered electromagnetic induction. So, like the various personalities who have brought changes in the world. Like that, the father tells that his son will also come to understand why he is born for, and he also want to make the changes in the life. Now the final stanza, that is 9th one. Bringing changes into a world resenting change, he will be lonely enough to have time for the work he knows as his own. The father says that his son will understand how the works of all these famous personalities brought changes into the world, which dislikes changes. But during this disliking, let him know that it is time for him to be on his own. He must be unique in his work, and he must have hard work to achieve like others to change the world. So the father expects his son to be very hardworking, and he must be unique in his work. Students, now on the whole, the summary of the poem is: the poet called Sandberg gives a vivid description of your father's worldly wisdom in directing a son who is at the threshold of his manhood. Here, the father motivates his son to be like a hard rock and withstand life's challenges and sudden betrayals. Life is like a fertile soil. We can make our life fruitful if we are gentle and take life as it comes. At times, gentleness overtakes harshness. The growth of a tender flower, soft flower, can split a rock. One should have a deep desire and strong will to achieve. Greed for money has left men dead before they really die. Good men also have fallen prey in quest for easy money. Time for leisure is not a waste. When you seek knowledge, never feel ashamed to be called a fool for not knowing. At the same time, learn from your mistakes and never repeat it. Do introspect and do not hesitate to accept your shortcomings. Avoid white lies to protect self against other people. Solitude, that is loneliness, helps to be creative, and final decisions are taken in silent rooms only. Instead of being one among many people, be different, be unique if that is your nature. The son may need lazy days to find his inherent abilities, that is, inborn abilities, to seek what he is born for. He will then know how free imaginations bring changes to the world which resents change. During such resentment, let him know that it is time for him to be on his own and work to achieve like Shakespeare, Wright brothers, Pasteur, Pavlov, and Michael Faraday. Thus, the father motivates his son to become a good. Thus, we must come to know how we should be in our lifetime by the advice of the father, like this. From this poem, we can come to know how a man should behave in his lifetime and be successful in his life. Thank you, students.